Well, I don't want to make a whole eBay junk lot video out of this. This is just one console and it's another top loader, and it's probably a problem I've already covered before. But I'm getting the typical screen that shows usually a bad power cap. However, I am feeding it DC, and usually you get that when you're feeding it AC. So I'm going to dig in a little bit more. Well, I've already showed 100 times how to open up a top loader and get to it and whatnot. Definitely some evidence that people have been into it before, as it has new caps, at least up here. These are two Nishikons, and this one looks like a Murata, and the main cap does not appear to have a name brand that I recognize, or one that's printed on there at all. And C14 looks like maybe it's another Nishikon, can't quite tell. So what I want to do is test the main cap. And it's actually testing perfectly fine. So that makes me want to try the bridge rectifier. I always have to break out a good one just to remember how to do this, but get your meter set on diode, and it's these 4 pins right here, and if you put your positive on the negative and go to the adjacent ones, see about 1/2 volt, and then your negative pin on that one, which also is the positive pin of the main cap, go to the adjacent pins, 0.57, 0.57. So the diode actually looks good, but the more I look at the caps, the more I'm concerned that this wasn't soldered in correctly. And we got these huge legs on the bottom of this cap, so something got messed up. I'll have to investigate that further. Well, my first clue here is I have continuity on the 5-volt rail. So that's already a huge problem, and I'm not quite seeing a problem on the cap itself. I do have what seems like continuity to the legs. I was also showing 1,000 microfarads here and like 36 down on the reset cap too, so definitely got some issues. Well, I pulled the cap out just to take a look, and it looks like they pulled that via right through on the positive side. It does seem to still have continuity through it, probably through other traces and whatnot. So I think my next move is I'm going to remove the 7805 just to isolate the input from output. Sometimes we have bad 7805s, but this will at least narrow it down to the 5-volt rail and not anything on the input side. Alright, 7805 is out, and we still have the short, so it's not the 7805. My guess is probably going to be one of the main chips, just like it always is. I just spotted another common mistake that people do whenever they try to take these apart and put them back together. They take these screws out and then they end up putting them in upside down. They're supposed to have the head on the bottom like this side, because the threads are actually in the plastic. So right now it's not doing nothing. So I'll put that back in up the right way. I think this might be a good one for the leak seeker, so I'm going to try see if I can solder the ground on here permanent, because that's what it's there for. Alligator clip will slip off easily. There we go. Let's go for an even lower gain, maybe. Seems like the CPU is giving me the highest pitched tone there. It would not surprise me if it was CPU. Seems like it always is. So, might as well go ahead and try to remove it. You know, in the future, if I do anything with this, it's going to be a high def NES mod, and CPU and PPU have to come out anyway. Still looking into trying to figure out maybe a logic analyzer type solution for looking at bad chips like this to see what's up. I guess I could have left the 7805 in and powered it up and put the thermal camera on it too. Still can, I guess. Not too far along just yet. My 100 microfarad cap back in there. Definitely understand why they left it up so high. They were trying to get solder to this top trace and to the leg, as well as to the bottom trace and to the positive leg. Like so. So let's try the thermal camera thing. Alright, so I haven't turned it on yet. You can see the board is dead cold. Sorry about the light glare. Look at that. It's already at 180. There it is. And that's the CPU, so yep, pretty obvious CPU fail. Alright, so the CPU is out, so we're obviously going to be curious. We've still got a power and ground short, and it appears we do not. Check a couple places. We're good. I guess we can actually check power and ground pins on the CPU itself. Yeah. So there's that problem. I am going to reuse the bad chip to solder in these single inline sockets. These are what I use for high def NES installs, etc. Get the outside pins soldered. I can drag them. Said this a few times, but dragging through-hole pins is super easy on dual inline chips if you have the right soldering iron. This is JBC, and this is their knife or beveled edge tip. The 939 makes it stupid easy to drag solder this stuff. So now I will obviously pull the bad CPU back out and mark that one bad. Throw that in the bad pile, and we'll put a good CPU in here, put the heatsink back on too, and then we'll retest it. Also, while I've got the heatsink off, I'm going to replace this main cap just because I don't see a good name brand on there that I recognize. And this is the main problematic cap. So I'll throw a good cap in there and then get it put back together and we'll retest. Okay, so a known good CPU installed. I just crushed that 100 microfarad cap. Okay, known good CPU. Everything's back together. Black screen, not good. It's possible that the PPU was also killed. Alright, I got the heat gun back out, and looks like PPU is hitting 175. Let's get my finger on it. So now the PPU is overheating. So it definitely got killed whatever happened here. Okay, let's try with a known good CPU and PPU. Here we go. A little quick test for make sure controller works. Right on. Fixed. Alright, so a question I always get when I do these videos is, where do I get the CPU and PPU from? Well, I get them from front loaders, actually. I have tried to source them. There is a UMC chip, the UA6527, that's supposed to be the NTSC CPU equivalent, and I have ordered twice from AliExpress on that chip, and both times it's showed up as a UA6527P, and for whatever reason the P doesn't work. I think it may be like the 60 hertz PAL, the PAL M or whatever variant for like South America or whatever, and it doesn't work. However, it does work in the high def NES, which is kind of cool, but for doing this kind of work, it's the only thing I know to do is to salvage it from another console, unfortunately. But also, like, how much would I normally charge to do that? I would charge about $15 per chip, including salvaging the chip and, you know, all that kind of stuff too. So haven't done it in a long time either, and I'm not sure what other people charge to do it, and I'm sure those prices are going to continue to climb as salvage material gets harder to find. And if I can't find somebody that's actually got the UA6527, then it's going to be salvaged from other consoles. But if you know of anybody, AliExpress, eBay, whatever, that has the UA6527 for sale, send me a link. I want to buy one and test it.